Talking in her sleep again, reciting lines start to win. But she's not crazy, knock on wood, just a little misunderstood.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Baked Alaskan. Oh, Remy's here today. Wonderful. Today I want to talk about bipolar disorder. And I got myself some notes here. I know it all here, but I wanted to have it written down so I have a guideline for what I tell you guys. God, Remy, why do you do that? Anyways, thanks, baby. Anyways, so let's talk about bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is a brain disorder that causes unusual shifts in mood and or energy. That's the general definition of bipolar disorder. It's gonna end badly. God. You know, I was missing him, but I don't know now. Okay, so there are two types of bipolar disorder, type 1 and type 2. Personally, I am type 2. Bipolar 1 is characterized by episodes of mania, mostly, with a few episodes of depression. Bipolar 2 is majority episodes are depression with a few episodes of hypomania, which is not mania, it means below mania. And it means below mania. Hypomania does. He's funny. I don't know what's wrong with him today. There are complications that can occur within your bipolar disorder, which I'm talking about mixed episodes and rapid cycling. Mixed episodes are, just as it sounds, like a mashup of hypomania and depression, or mania and depression. It can be very dysphoric and overwhelming. And rapid cycling means you alternate between the two. Sorry. You alternate between the two. Don't do that. Don't do that. And we're back. Sorry about that. Kids these days. Anyways, where was I? Let me look at my notes here. So, rapid cycling, I was saying, I think. Rapid cycling is like alternating between mania, hypomania, and depression, depending on which you suffer from. And it is very distressing. Imagine being happy one minute and depressed the next. It happens, and it sucks. So, to give you a description of mania, it begins with a high energy, creativity, and social ease, and can progress to an extended, extreme, elevated mood, exaggerated self-esteem, irritable mood, impaired judgment, risk-taking behaviors like overspending and promiscuity, and if untreated can lead to hallucinations and delusions. I do not suffer from bipolar 1, so I've never had true mania. I've only had hypomania, which is defined as a milder form, means below mania. Symptoms cause less impairment. Elevated mood cannot be maintained and is often followed by a mania or a crash to depression. And then depression, intense, pervasive, and persistent in bipolar disorder. Sadness, despair, hopelessness, frustration, anger, irritability, worthlessness, guilt, loss of energy, lack of interest, difficulty sleeping, difficulty concentrating, and impaired judgment and decision making. Good times all around, I think we can all agree. Treatment is most often long-term medication. Like, I am supposed to be on this for the rest of my life. Like diabetes or heart medication, I have to take it every day. Most people require a cocktail of medication to control their bipolar disorder. Usually a combination of mood stabilizers, antipsychotics, or antidepressants, which must be used with a mood stabilizer because they will destabilize a bipolar person and give them like manic break, which is what happened to me. That's how I found out I was bipolar. I was super, super depressed and borderline suicidal, and my doctor put me on antidepressants, like most doctors would. And I got so manic, like I was like on top of the world. It was wonderful. I wish it never had stopped. You know what I mean? It was the best feeling in the world. And then the crash, inevitable crash afterwards. You always crash. You go from one to the other and back again. So it's also managed with anxiety medication, psychotherapy, and something that I did for many years was a mood chart, which was literally tracking my mood every day. And I have months and months and months and years of charts over there. I just stopped for whatever reason because I was getting so well maintained that there was really no change, and it was kind of a pointless exercise at that point. So I wanted to talk about, now that I got that all out of the way, you have a foundation, I wanted to talk about what it's actually like to have bipolar disorder. Last week, I should say, I've been really emotional lately, and it's my bipolar disorder. And it affects my emotions, so I feel things a lot more deeply than the average person. Whether it be happiness or sadness or anger, it's like the normal person's emotions are here, and a bipolar person's emotions, depending on where they are on the scale, up here. And if you're not medicated and you're not under control, they call it that, I guess, it can be much higher, and it can fluctuate a lot worse. Like, you could go to where you feel nothing, and you're devoid of emotions, and you want to die. And it could be 1 minute you're fine, and the next minute you feel like that. If you're unmedicated, that is something that happens. It really does affect me every day in every way. I went to the cannabis clinic, and they were running a CNN special about medical cannabis and the benefits, and there were, of course, all of these children that were very ill in this video. I didn't even have to be told what was wrong with them or why they were needing the medical marijuana or anything. I just knew what was coming, and I started to cry. And I cried in that waiting room with I don't know how many people, covertly, as covertly as you can cry. For like an hour. I mean, I excused myself to the washroom a few times, but, you know, this is this is what I deal with. I take medication every day. I have taken medications for almost, I don't know, 10 years. And I still have moments like these. I still get overwhelmed. I was already depressed when I went in there, and then I was bombarded with a sensory kind of thing that triggered me to just cry. Similar to that is I used to watch, when I had TV, I used to watch The Voice, and I would just bawl like a baby. You know, it's like supposed to be a fun show. And I would cry, but I loved that, the music and whatever, right? But that was my kind of penance for enjoying that. What else? Sports, like, and that can be anything. Like, I will get goosebumps or tears in my eyes from the way the announcer will announce something like that's amping up to be like a big moment. I will react to that, and I could care less about basketball or whatever, but you'll see me, I'll cry. And then there's the sadness, that is probably the most terrible thing for me. My bad time is the spring. My mom died in the spring, and I seem to relive that pain every year. It's been maybe 22 years this year. She died when I was quite young. But that's a story for another time, because obviously it's making me horribly uncomfortable. Anyways, I need to take a moment and visit with Honey. By the way, this is like a commercial for Res Block, because I ran out and I'm just using water now, and it is disgusting. I miss Res Block. So, I think the worst thing is the absence of feeling, and that comes sometimes when the sadness goes on too long and you're not able to claw your way back out. Then the numbness comes, and it's the ugliest thing. To have no feelings, no emotions, to not care about anything, to just write yourself off. I mean, that's the point when you decide you're not worth anything. And that's a horrible thing to say out loud, but bipolar is an insidious illness. It is a disorder that disorganizes everything about your life. Understanding it is the key to owning it and conquering it, but never forget it is always in control. It's just really hard to put into words what it feels like when you can't control your own emotions. When you're in a room full of people and you're just sobbing and people are looking at you, and you have no explanation for why you're sobbing or anything else. You just feel it. I also will get really frustrated. I will get inconsolable. Like, nothing anybody says, even Nicole, can make me feel better when I'm inconsolable. And it's because this illness is so it just grabs you and it just holds on to you. Some days it's hard to get out of bed because the depression is so bad, and others I just pop right out and I'm right as rain. And anybody that watches me then thinks I'm faking on the days that I can't get out of bed. Except for Nicole, she always knows that it's true. Um, and it's not that I'm faking it. I honestly can't get out of bed. Like, I do not have the energy to pick myself up and move. I am so drained from whatever's going on in my brain that it's like the day is a lost cause. And then there are other times when I feel so happy and I feel so sure of myself and who I am, and like, I wish those days could last longer because I know who I am, but it gets lost in the bipolar. It really does. It just gets swept under the rug, and I'm stuck fighting it. Oh, sorry. You know what? Cheers, everybody. Now, some of you are wondering, if I have bipolar disorder, why am I smoking cannabis? Because the literature says that people with mental illness or that are prone to mental illness should not smoke cannabis because they will get mental illness. I don't believe that. I'll just say that I don't believe that. I've read some very encouraging research and studies that are being done on bipolar disorder especially, and cannabis, and it's working for it. Like, it's a mood stabilizer, and I know that because I've been using it like that for a long time. But I really had to fight my doctor to get her to release me to use cannabis medically because she was convinced that I would have a psychotic break or worse. I don't know what's worse than a psychotic break, but something. And that's just not true. We're getting kind of long here. I just know that I've been using cannabis for a while, and I mean, I guess anything can happen at any time. Don't take that for granted, for sure. But I'm doing very well on it. Well, should sign off, everybody. I want to thank you for listening and being willing to learn. And I'm always available for questions and comments. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Take care. Be well.